Are you passionate about providing supportive leadership? If so, this episode's for you. We're taking a break from sales focus and saying, how can we serve the people that are in front of us right now, whether it's your clients, your team, people in your church and community? My guest is David H. Green, and this is the Sales Strategies for Christian Coaches podcast. I'm Justin Janowski, your host. I remember launching my first coaching business and getting only one client before packing up shop because I couldn't figure out how to grow from there. And 3 years later, I tried again. I got 3 clients and I went out of business. 3 years after that, I launched again and I did over $250,000 in revenue that first year in business. God provided in such a meaningful way. I also learned in between the second and third attempt how to sell, how to market, how to design offers, how to build a real business. That was really a win for me and for my clients. And that's what this podcast is designed to help you do. Like I said before, my guest today is David H. Green. David is a bronze sponsor for our conference, Christian Coaches Academy Live, coming up. You can meet him there in person. If you haven't signed up yet, go check out the conference, CCA Live 2026. We would love for you to join us there. David has a wealth of experience in leadership. He's been in the church for a long time, providing great leadership to people there. He's been involved in the Ziglar coaches community. He's been in our community. He's engaged with a lot of high-level leaders, and he brings an authenticity and just a goodness to every conversation and every room that he's in. I'm so happy to have him here. David, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Justin. That's a very warm introduction. I'm grateful.
It's my pleasure. I'm grateful for you. I'd love for you to share a little bit of your journey. How did you get into leadership? How'd you get involved with Ziglar? How'd you get involved with Faith to Influence? Talk our listeners through a bit of your story as it pertains to how you got here.
Oh, my goodness. It is an unlikely story. In August 1983, I was moving into a dormitory at Austin College in Sherman, Texas, the finest Presbyterian college in North America, by the way. And I met a guy named Tom, whose dad happened to be a writer and a speaker, Tom Ziglar. And Tom and I have been friends ever since, and we've kept up through the years, been fairly close. And so that's how I was introduced to Ziglar. I knew people that had gone to his sales trainings, and I knew a little bit about him. I remember a 60 Minutes interview, things like that. But I found Mr. Ziglar to be very authentic, a man of deep spiritual faith, a biblical foundation being important to him, and literally came to faith again as a young adult sitting in the Ziglar living room. My knee was close enough that we would bump knees when Mr. Ziglar was sitting there talking to me with a Bible in his hand. And that led me off on a journey. I was supposed to be a lawyer. I was a tax return preparer, bankruptcy analyst. And my faith crisis was I was dreaming the wrong things. But Mr. Ziglar and Tom taught me what it is to be a Christian man, a Christian husband, and Christian father. And that just transformed everything for me. A lot of people build empires. The Ziglar family is much more interested in building up individuals and churches and not owning it for themselves, but really finding value in the success of others. And that transformed my view of leadership. If you're a leader that wants to be the top down, I'm in control, okay, everything I say will make no sense to you. But if you like that bottom up sense, if you find a lot of excitement in seeing other people succeed, we got stuff to talk about.
Super cool. And then you and I met at a Ziglar event. I had the opportunity to speak and deliver a message on sales at the Ziglar Coaches Summit last year. And you were drawn to Faith to Influence and to learning more about our community and getting involved with us and deciding to sponsor and join us at our conference. Talk me through, what was it about the interaction we had there that led you to want to be a part of what we're doing too?
Well, Justin, you were cut from the same cloth as the Ziglar family, because what you do with Faith to Influence is support others along their journey. And you now have built a community that gets together on a regular basis for prayer and encouragement, just shameless encouragement of each other. A place where you say nice things about people behind their back and to their face. And then you also, like the Ziglars, have an enormous amount of resources available at your website. And so that's really what drew me to you. In this world where there's never going to be too much kindness, you have a community that is built on, we love God, we're all on our journey, and supporting and encouraging each other. And then the online resources that are worth way more than what you charge for them, that's just bonus.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, David. One of the things that I know about you that I love is you really value relationships, you value
Yes.
resources, and you value that service based leadership that we were talking about. And so I want to redirect now into some conversation about that. One of the tools that you love is the Ziglar Wheel of Life. And you use this in working with teams and leaders. And I wonder if you would be willing to share a bit about the Ziglar Wheel of Life with our audience so that somebody who hasn't heard of it before can learn and grow through it now.
Yes. If you have ever been stuck where things are just a little bit out of balance and you can't quite put your finger on it, the Ziglar Wheel of Life is the place to begin. And I have a printout of it here, but it asks you to summarize how you're doing in 10 different areas and then 10 different items. So maximum score of 10 on each one. So it's, the physical, spiritual, financial, personal, career, mental, family items. See, if you think of your life like a wheel, where is it out of balance? And I find it to be helpful enough that I actually do this resource every quarter. I actually have it now. I've started a new calendar in July 1st. So this is my new calendar for July 1st. It's the Ziglar Performance Planner. You can find these at Ziglar.com, wherever books are sold. I have no financial interest in you buying this, but again, it's the first step right here inside of this. And that's where, if things are out of sorts and you can't quite put your finger on it, well, it's, I've not had a lot of positive input, or I'm not eating right, I'm not sleeping well. And it really helps you focus on the first step. It doesn't give you every step, but when you're stuck, you don't need every step. You just need the next step and then the next step. And that's what I love about the Wheel of Life. And that's available free of charge at my website, davidhgreen.com. You'll find that as a resource. It's free. It's the Ziglar family has made sure it's available pretty much everywhere on the internet. So I encourage people to start there.
Amazing. davidhgreen.com. You can get the Wheel of Life. And so, as you think through the Wheel of Life in these different areas, I know that there's a lot of conversation about balance. And
Mhm.
of course, we'd like to be winning in all areas. The reality of life, I know for most people, is in certain seasons, they're struggling a little bit more in their marriage and they're out of balance there. Or maybe it's that their marriage is requiring more of their focus and attention and effort. Maybe they've got a loved one who's sick and so they're pouring into their family, but a little bit less time in other areas. Maybe there's other seasons in which it's an important opportunity at work and business is growing and there's a little bit of misbalance there for a period of time. And then we come back and kind of course correct. And there's, all kinds of different examples like that. What does somebody do when they recognize that they're a little bit out of balance? And is it okay for them to be a little bit out of balance? Can you just talk about your perspective on this?
I'll talk about the physical spoke of the wheel as an example. Several years ago, I was at a Ziglar event where the Wheel of Life was part of the group process. And I'm sitting at a table with someone who's, I'm going to use nicely the phrase middle aged. I mean, probably in his late 40s, early 50s, kind of in that midpoint of life. And he's there with his teenage daughter. He's a distance runner. He loves running marathons. His daughter's getting ready to go to school on an athletic scholarship. I was not in great shape, but my score on physical, I can remember he was surprised when he saw how high I'd ranked it. Well, at that point, because of a back injury, I was struggling with chronic pain and had been able to walk for the first time in a while. And that was awesome. Well, okay, so now that's my standard. Okay, now after that, I needed to work on the next step of losing some weight. Now, more than 50 pounds lost later, it's the next step. And so that's where it helps you. I mean, we want to have balance between work and life, but what does that mean? My life isn't just one thing. I find it helpful to remember or to be reminded when my kids were at home and they were in high school that time with my kids was more precious then because I was running out of it. And that's not to say I don't have any more time. My kids are adults and I get to see them all the time, but I get to see my kids very often. But it was a reminder by doing this Wheel of Life that, hey, this is my kid's senior year in high school. He's only going to get to do this one time. And anything I want to do, any tradition I want to start, any lesson, any love I want to give, this is my last substantial chance to do that. And that shaped my priorities. So that's how the Wheel of Life will help you. And then once you find that first step, okay, so for me, I was seeing surgeons who were helping put my back together. And then I got to where I was stable there. Okay, so now I needed to see another physician who could talk me through diet and exercise, weight loss matters. And then, so it's going to grow with you over time. That's part of what I appreciate about that resource. And when we talk about our financial spoke, no secret here that you will see a lot of similarity between Dave Ramsey and the Ziglar family.
Yeah.
Mr. Ramsey's pretty shameless about how Mr. Ziglar influenced him.
Yeah.
So this is how you find that next step.
Yeah. What I love about that is it's a reminder that, of course, different age ranges, our priorities can be a little bit different in our 20s than they are in our 50s than they are in our 80s, right? And, in different seasons of what's going on with our family, what's going on in our business, what we're prioritizing, we're going to have a little bit of different needs for different seasons. And so I think the opportunity that you're talking about here is just to gain awareness.
Mhm.
And if we pause to grade ourselves and look at the different areas of our life, we can say, how am I doing here for this season right now? And
That's
what
right.
needs to shift? Is there anything that needs to change? You said you're doing this once a quarter. Over the next 3 months, which of these areas need to pivot, need to shift? Where do I need to bring down the attention and the focus? Where do I need to bring it back up and intensify it a little bit? And that's going to look different for every single person. But the
Mhm.
awareness and being willing to have the conversation is so important. I want to transition from that to another tool that you love, which is the goal setting tool that Ziglar has as well. I'm curious if somebody's listening to this and they want to improve at setting and achieving goals. Maybe it's in the wheel of life, maybe it's in their business revenue goals, maybe it's something else. Can you give us some feedback and some coaching on how we can get better at setting and achieving goals?
Absolutely. And again, for every Christian coach, these resources are widely available on the internet. If you buy the Ziglar Performance Planner, it's right there in the very front of it. It is a 7-step goal setting process. And it is life changing not only for individuals, but for institutions. It works in both settings. So, the first thing you need to do is start with a dream sheet. And that's think of a vision board before you do the vision board. What are your dreams? And you'll be surprised. It still surprises me. It doesn't get old, but people will tell me, well, I don't have a dream. They're in that day to day grind of going to work or raising kids or whatever the stress is at that moment, and they've forgotten that it's okay to have a dream, and it's going to be different for everybody. Some people dream about living in a condominium townhouse in a suburban area where they have restaurants right outside the door and traffic all around them. Some people want to live in a place where they can't hear the nearest highway. Some want something in between. Whatever the dream is for that individual, you've got to own it. Don't be afraid of having a dream, whether it's personal or professional or for your family. It's okay to have a dream. And so the first step is to list your dreams. Now, when I'm coaching somebody, inevitably, I send them home with the dream sheet and the homework, whether it's an individual or an institution, and we get together the next time. And I guarantee you 100% of the time, I'm going to say, that's a great start. You need to go back and dream some more, because it's in that next round where you start thinking about the why. Okay, so you want a house in the country. Why?
Mhm.
Why? Why? And that's where you really figure out what your priority is. And that's going to be prevalent through everything that you do, regardless of what it is that you try to do. That becomes then your dream. So the first step there is figure out your dream. And then you just start working that process through there. And I would say one of the steps that sets Ziglar apart is qualifying the dream. And
Mhm.
that's every one of these questions need to have a yes answer. Is it really my goal? Is it morally right and fair to everyone concerned? Is it consistent with my other goals? Can I emotionally commit myself to seeing this through to the finish line? That's a
Wow.
hard one for people. And then finally, can I see myself reaching this goal? And I find when I'm working with people, that's a stumbling block.
Wow.
They know it's out there, but they can't imagine a goal like that is
Wow.
really for them. And it is. It just
Wow.
is. Another
Can,
part of
can we
goal set.
pause here for a second, David?
Yeah.
Because this
What is
feels
it?
really important to me. Okay, listing out your dreams and then considering
Yeah.
like why, what's the why to make sure that we've got a list of dreams that we're excited about that we genuinely are dreaming about. But this idea of qualifying your dream and getting a yes in each of these categories before moving forward to the next step of setting out a plan and really pursuing it, right? Because I think so
Yeah.
many people kind of casually pursue something that's a dream, but to your point, they don't really believe they can do it. They're not
That's
emotionally
right.
committed. It doesn't make sense in the context of their other dreams, the other things that they're working towards. It's not realistic for them. There's different reasons why people don't accomplish the goal or the dream. And I think that people are like, oh, I'm not good enough. I couldn't do it. But it was that they hadn't qualified it properly. They never had a chance. They never gave themselves a chance. Maybe it was the wrong thing and they never actually went for it. And so
That's
I'm wondering if you could go through that list. One, what are the questions
yes.
we need to get?
Yes, thank you. First, is it really my goal? I mean, is it someone telling you you should do this, or is it really what you want to do? Going back to that being physically fit. See, I had a goal of being able to walk. Now I can't. Is it really your goal, or is it someone telling you that's what you want to do? And the other, really, the better example was I grew up poor and I didn't know what a lawyer did, but I knew there was probably a good shot out of poverty from there. But it was other people's dream that I be a lawyer. It
Uh,
wasn't my dream that I be a lawyer. So is it really my dream or something others want me to do?
Or I remember
That's
it being in sales and having a sales manager who like helped me set my goal, but it was really his goal, it was his dream for me versus
that's
what I
right.
really wanted to accomplish. Yeah, that's so important.
That's exactly it. And as an employee, sometimes you do get your goal set for you.
Yeah.
It happens. Uh, but that makes it your goal, but at least you know why it's your goal because
Mm,
your boss told you so. Then the next question is it morally right and fair to everyone concerned?
mm,
Is it morally right and fair to everyone concerned? When my kids were home doing their high school years, during their senior year of high school, would it have been fair for me to take an opportunity to travel and do speeches around the country? Well, no. I mean, I question the morality of that because my priority really is my family. If this is
mm,
the greatest gift God's given to me, that's a moral issue to me. It's the third question, is it consistent with my other goals? If you as a congregation, if a church has the goal of growing and yet they want a website so the members can keep tabs on each other, that's circling the wagons, not opening the doors. There are some inconsistencies there. Can I emotionally commit? Can I emotionally commit myself to finishing this goal?
mm,
It's going to get hard. Every goal gets hard. Every goal is hard. If it were easy, it wouldn't be your goal, it'd already be done. And you really, even when you think the answer is no, sometimes you need to surround yourself with people to hold you accountable, to encourage you, to coach you. You've got to make that emotional commitment to seeing the goal through.
mm,
And then finally, can I see myself accomplishing that goal? And so is it really my goal? Is it morally right? Consistent with my other goals? Can I emotionally commit? Can I see myself achieving that goal?
mm.
Those are important steps.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. Okay, so let's say we've qualified the dream, the
Yeah.
goal. We know we want to pursue it. What's next?
So, one of the other steps, I'm not going to go through all 7 steps because that's
Yeah,
available free out there,
that's
but
right.
one of the most important steps is who can help you along the way.
Mm,
Who can help you along the way? Things are hard. Life is hard. It's hard. It's hard even at the best of times. Raising good kids is fun, but it's hard.
yeah.
Even at the best of times, it can be hard to do because there's so much at play and you love them so much, and yet sometimes they might make you crazy.
Mm,
It's hard. So you need partners around you. And this is where I find this method is so helpful in churches.
mhm,
Every congregation has its own way of dealing with money, but consistently in struggling congregations, really in most congregations, money is a finite resource.
mm,
And so it's easy for people to think that if there's a dollar going to your program, that's a dollar that could have gone to my program. And you
mm,
start seeing each other as competitive. I hear the word siloed, but this is worse than that. There's this competition going back and forth between the committees. But when you start thinking in terms of how can they help me and how can I help them, then these barriers start to break down and people start working together
yeah,
for an organization. Whether if you're a solopreneur, it's helpful for you to know that you have other team members out there. If you haven't joined CCA, by the way, you need to join CCA because
mm,
this is an organization that will offer you encouragement and support and help in truly world-class resources at
mm.
a very, very affordable price. Sorry, Justin, I had to give that plug
Thank you.
because they hear it in your voice all the time. But But when you start seeing, when you take the mindset that this person is not a competitor,
Mm,
but a partner,
mhm.
and we're all working together for these same objectives, how do we work together towards that? That becomes very important.
Yeah. Wow. Really valuable. Figuring out, once you've qualified your dream, who can help. I think that this has been true for me my whole life. That's been so important. And of course, surrendering it to God and inviting Him in prayer to support us in it, but then finding the people, the resources, the opportunities, the collaborating partners that
Yeah.
can help us is such a key. Speaking of that, I hope people will come and collaborate with us at CCA Live 2026. If you're not signed up yet, www.f2itribe.com/CCA Live 2026. You can meet David Green in person. You can meet Tom Ziglar, who David's been talking about a lot.
Yes.
Hang out with me and the rest of the gang there. We're going to have such a great time. And you will absolutely find people who encourage you, who become your friends, who become your dream partners and your collaborators and your encouragers and all of those things. So, David, thank you so much for being on with us. Any final words about leadership? Like, is there something that you want to share for somebody who's listening? Like, how can I be a better leader? A final thought to close on?
It's a little thing, but it's significant. I'm going to pick up a phone. Every time you end a phone call with somebody, take a moment and thank God for something about that person.
Hmm.
Okay, sometimes a bill collector is not an easy one, but I've been there. I'm not there right now, but I've been there in the past.
Yeah.
But you know what? It changes you. Even if you've had somebody
Hmm.
have a hard conversation with you or someone who's making it challenging, you don't have to like everybody, but you are required to love everybody. That's something I would encourage all people to do. When you end a phone conversation, when you finish a meeting online, take just a moment and thank God for something specific about that person and that
Mm.
interaction. It will change you.
Wow. David, I'm thanking God for you, your peaceful nature on this call, the wisdom you've delivered, the way you've shown up for us. Thank you so much. This has been great. Everyone else, I'll see you next week on the podcast, and hopefully we'll be together soon in person. Cheers.